Hello everyone, this week we are in Parashat Pinhas, and Parashat Pinhas is one of the famous parashot when we are dealing with the Zohar, and we want to find out this week why Parashat Pinhas is so famous and what's so special about it, and what can we get out of it. Now, Parashat Pinhas almost has nothing interesting to say. It speaks about stuff that the Torah in all the parashot of Bamidbar already spoke about. Counting the people, holidays, we had it before, some other stuff. However, the Zohar about Parashat Pinhas is a whole book by itself that can be standing alone by itself. So what's the special forces of Parashat Pinhas? In order to understand that, we have to remember one thing that is very important. There is an expression in Hebrew that says Hakadma harefua lamaka. Wherever there is a disease, there is a problem, God the Creator prepared already the remedy, the medication for it. Parashat Pinhas always falls in the beginning of what is called the 3 weeks. The 3 weeks between the 17th of Tammuz and the 9th of Av. The 17th of Tammuz is the beginning of this 3 weeks period. This is the time, the day, that the sin of the golden calf happened on that day. The walls of Jerusalem broke under the siege of the Romans, and so on and so forth. And this 3 weeks period ends on the 9th of Av, the 9th day of the month of Av, which is the day that the decree that the whole generation has to die in the desert for 40 years happened on that day. Destruction of Temple 1, destruction of Temple 2, the destruction of Beitar with Bar Kokhba, some 65 years after the destruction of the second temple, the expulsion of the Jews from Spain, so many other troubles during these 3 weeks. We know that things like this happen not by coincidence. These 3 weeks are very intense. However, the Zohar, Kabbalists teach us, the fact that it is intense brings us to the idea that it is dangerous, because not everyone can deal with intensity properly. And therefore, when we are not balanced, we can fall during this 3 weeks period. Therefore, as we said, always the healing and the remedy comes before the disease. If the disease, the problem, the malady is the 3 weeks every year between 17th of Tammuz, the month of Cancer, to the 9th of Av, the month of Leo, that means that Parashat Pinhas has the remedy for all the stuff within ourselves, all the impurities, that by holding on to them, we can hurt ourselves, not dealing properly with the intensities of these 3 weeks. It doesn't mean that it is bad, it means that it is intense. And we know when somebody is not in shape, when he has to go through intense period, then some systems can collapse, fall apart, shut down, and then we are in danger. The Parashat Pinhas is to give us an injection of force, of power, of support to help us. How come and why is it called Pinhas? The previous parasha, Parashat Balak, ends with the story of Balak, that Balak, in order to destroy the camp of the Israelites, he brings the princesses of Midian and Moab to seduce the Israelites in their camp, and by them following these ladies and their witchcraft, all the protection shield of the camp disappeared, and then a plague started. Pinhas, who was the grandchild of Aaron, does something that stops the plague. And it says in the Zohar, verse 6, and I'm reading the translation, and Rabbi Shimon said, the Israelites at that moment were supposed to be extinct from the world. That's what they deserved. However, came Pinhas, and he did what he did, and the anger has been pacified. As it says, Pinhas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Heshiv et Chamati. That's how the parasha starts, Parashat Pinhas. Pinhas pacified the anger. And that means that Pinchas created some power that we are not talking about some 3,400 years ago, that there was a danger and Pinchas pacified it, and we have, oh, Pinchas, a great thing he did. Who cares? It was so long ago. So many things happened later. However, what we understand is that every reading in the Torah has a meaning for us now, and for the week it's being read every year. And because Parashat Pinchas is being read in a specific week of the year, that means that it has special forces to deal with all the pain, suffering, and misery that can happen during this week, that we, by using the powers available that are accumulated in the Torah reading of this parasha, we can transform the negativity and turn it into positivity, which is the job of every human being. Our job as humans is not to live a quiet, pain-free life. That's not our job. Our job is to create light out of darkness, sweetness out of bitterness. And therefore, we have to deal with all kinds of challenges. In this week, all the mistakes that we did in past lives, this life, whatever can come up and manifest themselves the same way that the Israelites, every time they were kind of limping energetically, the disaster happened during these 3 weeks. So, these 3 weeks are giving us an opportunity to transform something. We're supposed, as these 3 weeks are starting, we're supposed to take the energies, the power that is treasured in Parashat Pinchas. And as we read the Torah on Shabbat, and as we read the Zohar in Parashat Pinchas, as we scan the Aramaic, as we read the Hebrew, as we understand and try to understand the concept by other learnings, we have to apply it, and by this, to learn that this is an opportunity to sweeten the judgments in their seed level, which is a very important expression. You cannot sweeten the judgment just as they come. You have to wait for the seed level to appear. And this is why in verse 386 in the Zohar Sulam, the commentary of Rabbi Ashlag on the Zohar, it says, Be'ot shayu holchim, as they were walking, Rabbi Shimon and his students, Ba nesher gadol, a big eagle came, Ve'savav al rosham, and flew around their heads. Ve'amad aleim, and then it stood. Amar Rabbi Pinchas said, Vadai et ratzoni, this eagle is a signal that this is a time of goodwill. Ata babasha, and this time, what does it mean, goodwill? Niftachim sharei rachamim lechol elu shem al eretz tvai. This is a time during the week of Parashat Pinchas, or as we read the Zohar of Parashat Pinchas, that the gates of mercy in heaven open up for whoever is on their deathbed. Vehu hazman lerapeh otam, and this is the time to heal them. Although they are the prisoners of the king, af al pi shem asuri hamelech, ki nesher zehu siman shel rachamim, because this eagle is a signal for mercy. As Parashat Pinchas approaches, we read from the Zohar Pinchas, we learn, we get the opportunity to transform judgment, din, into rachamim, mercy. And this is why also in this parasha we have many other essays, articles about the secret of a disease, the forming of the disease, and the healing of the disease. As we know that a person has to be connected to the power of the Torah, which is, it's a frequency. The Torah is a frequency which is called the 50th gate, the gate of Binah. When a person falls from that gate, he falls to the 49th gate, and that's why the word chole, ill, in Hebrew, is 49. With this energy of Parashat Pinchas, or the energy of the study of the Zohar, the energy of spiritual work, we have to uplift ourselves from the 49th gate and to the 50th gate. That needs a lesson, that needs a learning. And all the treasures in Parashat Pinchas, also the holidays, the secret of the holidays, all its openings of light, big letters, small letters, cut letters, it's all in Parashat Pinchas. It's a treasure box for all of us to tap into it, improve our lives. So in the end of the 3 weeks, we all going to be much better and improve the world. Thank you so much, and have a great week.